Welcome to the Century Link Center in Omaha, Nebraska for Fox College Hoops. Tonight it's the number 22 team in the nation, the Creighton Bluejays, and the UMKC Kangaroos. Hi everybody, Steve Physiak with Nick Baugh, and here's a look at the starting lineup. First off for UMKC, Ross Stewart, Boyd, Harrison, and Tillman, and Harrison is indeed their star. Now for the Creighton Bluejays, they're the number 22 team in the nation. Foster, Thomas, Watson, Huff, and Patton. And Nick, it's all about guards tonight.
Yeah, we got two really good seniors on display. For UMKC, Martez Harrison was the WAC Player of the Year 2 years ago. He scored over 1,500 points for his career. And he may be small, but he does a great job getting to the free throw line. 7 free throw attempts a game. And then Maurice Watson, he's the engine that makes this Creighton offense go. And he's an elite passer. Led the Big East in assists last year. Got a fun point guard matchup on our hands tonight.
Yeah, he just came by and gave you a fist bump, me a fist bump, and then all of the Creighton Blue Jay fans as well. He is ready to go. The senior from Philadelphia, and an interesting story will jump center. 7-foot redshirt freshman Justin Patton, and they really love this talented kid's future. And here is Watson with the basketball. Creighton won 20 games last year and lost in the NIT quarterfinals to Brigham Young. UMKC finished up at 12-19. Watson turns it over.
Looking to get a lob to Marcus Foster in the first play of the game. Had it, just didn't have the right pass.
And immediately, Lavelle Boyd tried to take it. And he is an outstanding outside shooter. Hit 42% from three-point range last year. This is Foster, his first shot and first made basket in almost 2 years.
Yeah, Kansas State transfer ranks 10th all-time in just 2 seasons at Kansas State in three-point field goals made. That's a good sign, because he's a guy that can really fill it up, is better going to the basket, but sometimes settles too much for jumpers.
This is Martez Harrison. He is the talented senior from Kansas City, Missouri. But Foster, in his last college basketball, did not score in a loss against TCU, and he said that has been bothering him ever since.
He's had an entire year to think about it, and it's good that Foster gets off to a fast start. He's going to lead this team in scoring, and you see some guys come off that redshirt year and have a little rust. So Marcus Foster showing, at least early on, a good sign of comfort.
Creighton in the man defense. This is Boyd on the drive, and it is taken down to the offensive end by Darnell Tillman.
Shot clock issue. With the clock reset and it never touched.
And they just reset it. Took 2 seconds off, and right now the officials, and it's Brian O'Connell, Alfred Smith, and Brent Hampton tonight, and they're checking at the scores table to make sure they have the correct time.
And the thing about a game like tonight for UMKC, to have success at a top 25 ranked school, packed crowd, it starts with expecting to be able to win an environment like this. Last year, UMKC won at Mississippi State. 2 years ago, won at Missouri. And then you have to have 2 good guards that lead the way. And Boyd and Harrison are not going to be overwhelmed by the moment. So I expect UMKC to settle in early in this game.
And they want to shock the house, because in their career they are 0-21 against top 25 teams. And they're still trying to get that shot clock correct. Right now it is at 12. They're talking with the official at the scores table to make sure he starts it on time. Here's Martez Harrison. Tough on the drive, very strong, but misses this shot. And Harrison gets it back, but a foul will be called. And you and I were talking with the officials before the ball game about the physicality inside.
Well, and Kohlhoff did that perfectly. He stayed in his vertical cylinder, jumped straight up. He didn't bring his hands out or down. That's what the officials want to see, where there is contact, but you're staying in your vertical cylinder is kind of the buzz phrase they use. That is a good job from Kohlhoff.
Well, they had a nice little pick and roll between Watson and Patton. And Patton will wind up the free throw line for his first 2 shots of his college career.
This is where Maurice Watson's dangerous with shooters spread, and this is where Patton gives Creighton a different look. See how you can just throw that thing up. At 7 feet tall, he's going to be able to go get any lob at this highest point and go finish, or at the very least get to the free throw line.
Well, the young man who's on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar watch list, one of 20 players, and he had never played a college game until tonight, scores his first in NCAA.
May not look like it, Steve, but he has put on 25 pounds in his redshirt year, so the strength is still an issue for him, but boy, does he have a great skill set at 7 feet tall.
Now Boyd to Harrison. Boyd had the opening and gives it up, and UMKC scores their first bucket by Darnell Tillman.
It's going to have to be Boyd creating shots for his teammates. That's a nice job.
Cole Huff, who had microfracture surgery on his knee at the end of last year, misses the shot, but Kyrie Thomas gets it back and gets his first field goal of the night.
Sophomore from right here in Omaha. Kind of lost some confidence in conference play last year, but averaged 12 points a game in the NIT through 3 games. I think that kind of springboarded him into the offseason to have a good sophomore campaign.
Kyle Stewart misses. This is Foster with the rebound. Marcus will take the shot and miss the 3. And it's knocked out of bounds. It still belongs to Creighton, though.
That's how they'll play. That's Creighton's style of basketball. Pace and space. They will push it, and they are not afraid to take early shots in the possession. So defensive transition is going to be at a premium for UMKC.
Dwayne Clark, the top prospect, comes onto the floor for UMKC. He's a 6'8" freshman from St. Louis.
A little bit of zone here, Steve, from UMKC.
Oh, and how about the lob to Justin Patton?
That's what he can do. I mean, you can just throw it up to the rim and he'll go get it.
Clark misses his first shot. Patton gets it back. Watson throws it up, and another slam. Well, that's a combination that Omaha's really going to enjoy this year.
You see, get in the middle of the lane, throw it up to the rim, flush it, and then in transition, just throw it up to the rim. That's 7 feet tall, running it and grabbing it and flushing it.
You told me as a junior at Omaha North he wasn't that much of a prospect, and then really emerged that summer.
And went to Creighton's team camp, and the Bluejays felt like they found the hidden gem. And Creighton offered him, and he then exploded on the AAU scene and has really just continued to improve, and he's just scratching the surface.
Thomas with the steal. Foster with the finish. Timeout. UMKC, as Creighton has opened up a 10-point lead in the first 4 minutes of this game. Steve Physiok, Nick Baugh with you in Omaha. We've seen 2 impressive dunks by that young man, 7-footer Justin Patton. You were talking about his emergence in recent years.
Yeah, and you're seeing what he can do here, throwing it up to him. He's 7 feet tall, and he's from right here in Omaha and was a relatively unknown prospect until he was offered his junior year by Creighton, and then exploded that summer on the AAU circuit and became a 5-star recruit, top 50 player. Redshirted last year, needed to put on some weight. He's put on 25 pounds, and he's got a chance to be special. It's a pretty good first 4 minutes to your college career with a couple of alley-oop dunks. He's really important for Creighton because he can run as a big man.
Boyd misses the 3, and we have a whistle and a foul in the paint.
Green foul on number 0, Marcus Foster.
And the foul will go against Marcus Foster, the 6'3" junior from Wichita Falls, Texas, who transferred from Kansas State.
In for the Bluejays, number 21.
And Greg McDermott's so happy to have Patton. We watched him practice last year with the team, and he was rail thin, and as you said, put on 25 pounds, and he still could add another 25 and look thin.
And he's had to eat a bunch and eat when he wakes up, eat before he goes to bed. I wish I had that job. That'd be a pretty good job, but he's done a good job of being committed in the weight room, and he's continued to take big strides.
Watson to Patton, and Patton misses the three, and it's picked off by the newcomer Xavier Bishop, 5'8" freshman from Springfield, Illinois. They say he's like lightning.
He's really herky-jerky. Was an all-state player out of Illinois, was a finalist for the Mr. Basketball Award in the state of Illinois. He's a pretty good player. It's just he's pretty small.
Now Broderick Robinson misses the three. And Isaiah Zierden, who's in the game now, the senior from Minneapolis, brings it up the floor to Watson.
It's good when you can bring Zierden off the bench. He was a guy that led Creighton in minutes last year and a really steady player. Has a great career assist-to-turnover ratio.
By Kyrie Thomas, his first.
Number 1, Deshaun King, and number 25.
Coach Kareem Richardson for UMKC. This is his 4th year, and he has 6 seniors, and he really likes that. They have a very aggressive non-conference schedule, though, before they get to the WAC.
And I like that he's coming in with a fearless attitude into an environment like this, that UMKC is going to do what they do. They're not going to get too worried about who they're playing. They're going to stick to what they do, and they'll full-court press a little bit and look to play fast.
Clark tried to dump it off, and they are saying, no, it's Creighton basketball. One official pointed in the direction for UMKC, and the other said, no, he spotted it off the defender, so it will be Blue Jays basketball.
So now you see the different look at the 4 and the 5 now for Ronnie Harrell at the 4 and Zach Hansen at the 5 for Creighton. 2 different styles of players from Huff and Patton.
Melvin Watson. So Maurice Watson nails the 3, and he's the guy who makes it go.
He's making that shot. He is basically impossible to guard, and that's what teams did last year. They went under ball screens. They dared him to take jumpers, and he's worked hard in the offseason at that jump shot.
Dwayne Clark bangs it in, his first field goal as a college player.
They're excited about Clark. They like what he can do.
Kyrie Thomas.
But you see Maurice Watson, that's off of a made basket, pushing it right into the elbow, track the defense, and making a shot for his teammate, Kyrie Thomas.
Clark again trying to put a move on his man. Boy, I like that move. That's twice now he's gone to that right side.
And they're trying to decrease physicality overall, and especially in the post. So this is an area I'd go a lot both ways, because it's going to be difficult to be overly physical and trying to provide some resistance.
Zach Hansen answers for Creighton. Blue Jays by 14. They go right back to Clark. And again, the right-handed hook.
That's where you got to understand player tendencies. He clearly likes that left shoulder, right-hand jump hook. You got to defend him accordingly.
Hansen gets it back. Watson from the right corner nails the 3.
That's one of those no, yes shots. He'll run some offense, but Maurice Watson now 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
Deshaun King in the game, 6'3" senior from Bronx, New York. Bishop got tied up, and it will be a held ball situation. We've got a timeout of the floor. Just a pause in play as they allow some substitutes to come back in the game. And it looks like Marcus Foster will come back in for the Blue Jays, and he'll replace Kyrie Thomas. Creighton 4 for their last 4 from the floor, and UMKC just a shot 3 for 3, and they've all come from Dwayne Clark, the big 6'8" freshman.
Clark's been a great source of offense on the block. It's allowed UMKC to settle down a little bit. The issue right now is UMKC just can't get any stops. A great start to this game for Maurice Watson, who takes a seat, already with 4 assists.
Wow, when he came into this game, the active leader of all NCAA players, he now has 643 assists in his outstanding career.
Anymore, you see a lot more scoring point guards. Even the young freshman here with the ball, Davion Mintz, is a really good scorer that's going to have to learn to kind of absorb some of Maurice Watson's mentality of getting his teammates involved. But they just don't make them like Maurice Watson a whole lot anymore.
And there's the steal. And Finished by Harrison.
Marquez Harrison.
Can't be lazy against UMKC swinging the basketball. They will be active and getting passing lanes. They're an undersized team. They got to make their weakness their strength, and they'll do that defensively.
Searden gets it back. Foster with that step back. Nails the three.
That's probably his favorite shot, Steve. The rhythm dribble pull-up three. It's sometimes a low percentage shot, but he loves it.
Harrison misses from deep. Ronnie Harrell in the game now, and we have a foul before he took that shot.
See Foster sizing him up, put the hands down, splashes another triple.
Creighton has now gone 749 consecutive games with a three-point made. And tonight they have made 5. 5 of 8 for Greg McDermott, who loves that style of game, and they are 70-10 when shooting 40% or better from that range.
That's how they're built. That's their identity as a basketball program. They've adopted the mantra, let it fly. And that's what they recruit to, and that's what they coach. They preach confidence from shooting from beyond the arc. And you see that graphic, 70-10 when knocking down 40% or better from beyond the arc. A great start so far shooting the ball.
And Foster makes everybody else that more dangerous because of his ability to shoot deep and also take it to the rack.
And Maurice Watson does a good job of spoon-feeding the shooters open looks as well.
A miss by UMKC. Mintz down the floor with the basketball. Goes down low to Patton back in. Here's Huff back in the game. And Cole will miss. He averaged over 11 points per game last year.
That's his shot. Rhythm inside out three. That's a good look from freshman Justin Patton to look the opposite side of the floor when getting the ball in the block.
Robinson with the fade. No. Patton with a strong rebound. Marcus Foster left side. And I believe we have a foul.
And something, Steve, the coaches have really preached to Marcus Foster. Even though you've seen him knock down some threes, don't settle for jump shots. They feel like Marcus Foster, with his athleticism, can give teams fits, driving the ball to the basket and getting to the free throw line. So that's something that Greg McDermott has really been harping to Marcus Foster a lot about.
Even though he's only 6'3", he's so strong, he's a guy you can post up.
And I think that's something that Creighton will maybe eventually look at, is trying to get him the ball into the block.
He misses, but Patton does not. Count the basket.
You've seen the full arsenal from Justin Patton. Even though he hasn't made them, he's taken a couple of jump shots. He's run the floor. He's gotten some lobs. And what you've seen him is he's been able to go and get the ball at its highest point. And that's where the long arms and the 7-foot frame really comes into play. The great length from Patton.
He's 3 of 4 from the field, and now 2 of 3 from the free throw line, and 8 points, tying Foster for the team high tonight. Creighton by 19.
You got to get Martez Harrison going a little bit. He's your scorer. He's your guy. He's got to start to get aggressive before this thing gets way too out of hand.
Yeah, Harrison was the WAC player of the year 2 seasons ago. Nifty pass inside to Tillman.
There's a lot of ways you can put your fingerprints on the game. Doesn't have to be scoring. There he is, creating a basket for Tillman.
And we're going the Kangaroos' way.
Bluejays, UMKC basketball.
Harrison with the ball now. Boyd doubled. Somebody's got to be open. Very good defense by Creighton, and the result is a Patton slam.
Feel like a broken record, but he has been impressive tonight. He's been active. And boy, can he run for a 7-footer. That's beautiful. There's a lot of things you can teach, Steve. The one thing you can't really teach is length, and he's got it.
It reminds me a little of the Antonio Davis story from Kentucky, where he was not a major prospect, but John Calipari saw something in him when he was in Chicago, and he wound up being the MVP of the NCAA tournament.
And seeing that's pretty smooth for a 7-footer. There are times when you see a 7-footer out in transition handling the ball. It looks like they're almost dribbling a golf ball or something like that. The ball's bouncing in different directions. They're a little bit uncoordinated running the floor, but not Patton. He's smooth as can be. Aren't you supposed to be nervous for your first game as a
You would think so.
Well, and the thing that helps is when you're playing with a guy like Maurice Watson, that it just gets you the ball in spaces that where you're comfortable, so you can settle into the game.
Down low, Clark being defended by Patton. There's the jump hook again, and that has been his shot. He has made all 4 of his field goals tonight.
See, he did a good job of bumping and creating a little bit of space from Patton to get to his jump hook.
It's like Crumple got bumped as he tried to tip. Martin Crumple, the redshirt freshman from Slovenia, will head to the free throw line.
17 foul against the Kangaroos. The Bluejays are in the bonus.
In for the first time is Toby Hegner. And Toby's an interesting story because he started a lot as a freshman, but his minutes have dwindled a little bit.
Well, it's just that spot, that front line, the 4 and the 5 spot, I think is the most unsettled from a rotation standpoint. And Hegner could still easily see some minutes, and he's a guy that's got a bunch of experience.
In honor of this Veterans Day weekend, fans, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with your grateful nation and its dedication to supporting special operations veterans as they transition into their next successful career. Visit foxsportssupports.com to learn more. And that is a foul. It's Kobe Paris called for the foul, and he's a really interesting story. One of the top players from the Philippines.
He's a legend in the Philippines. He's got over 100,000 Twitter followers.
Oh, that's good to know. Social media is so big.
And he's some things went awry. He was originally going to be a player for UCLA, but ended up at Creighton. He has got some electric athletic ability.
Watson with the steal, and then it's stolen back by Harrison. And Harrison up strong, can't get it to go, but finally picking it up is Deshaun King to knock it home.
Watson got a little sloppy here for a handful of possessions and a couple of turnovers for Maurice.
Creighton with the big lead. Creighton has come out on fire in the first 12 minutes of this game, hitting 12 of 19 from the floor and a lot from outside.
Yeah, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. When you think of Creighton, you think of fast pace, and you think from shoot from beyond the arc. And a lot of these are actually pretty tough shots, contested ones. There, Maurice Watson lining one up from the corner. Typically, they like rhythm threes, but right now for Marcus Foster, he gets his rhythm by dribbling and lining you up and knocking it down. Creighton doing a good job knocking down threes.
Toby Hegner then on the inbound, so Creighton out 13 of 20 from the floor with a 19-point lead.
The one thing I guarantee you Greg McDermott reminded his team about was being smart with the basketball. 6 turnovers for Creighton so far. They've had so much success in the open floor, they've gotten a little too cute.
Watson, oh, what a nifty pass.
That is so good. Being able to find little creases in transition and have his head up to find Hegner.
Deshaun King, boy, he spotted up, squared up perfectly, and knocks down that shot.
King was a 3rd leading scorer last year, was 2nd on the team in steals, not known as a 3-point shooter. But if you give him that much space in transition, he'll certainly let it fly. A mental error for Creighton not getting matched up off a made basket.
Watson looking for the screen, now gets it from Crumple, and then pulls up for the 3. You were shaking your head no on that one.
That's not his game. I mean, but maybe it is this year. You think about Maurice Watson from last year. That was a shot that teams baited him into taking. And if he can prove to knock that shot down with regularity, he's going to be even more of a headache.
That was a little like his favorite player growing up, Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. He actually met him as a 10-year-old on the playground, and Iverson renamed Maurice Watson Shorty Doo-Wop.
And it stuck. They call him WAP here. And he is doing a good job of getting his teammates involved. Another good pass to Martin Krampel. That's more King's game. Driving to the basket. That's where he's really tough to stop for UMKC.
Krampel works it up right side. Foster with the pull-up. Nails the three. Was that 7 threes by the Blue Jays?
And a lot of these are contested shots. And if you're Kareem Richardson, that's about all you can do. But at some point, you got to really close the airspace and run these guys off the three-point line. This is where Creighton's comfortable, is beyond the arc.
King again, and nails it from outside again.
So what ends up happening now is UMKC gets extended all the way out, so there's a ton of room to drive to the basket, get into the teeth of the defense, and make plays.
Krampel with a nice offensive rebound. Watson faked the jumper, takes it in, and has it knocked out of bounds.
Out of bounds, last touched by UMKC. Substitution, Kangaroos.
The three-point line is all of a sudden a three-point contest, but here, see that little jab step? He's just sizing you up, and if you're not going to close the space, he is going to knock it down. And Deshaun King, little peck dribble, step back. He's got his rhythm now, knocking down a three, getting a layup, and those shots are much easier after you've made a few.
Creighton getting a host of substitutions. Patton, Seard, Thomas back in. Mintz also on the floor. Hegner has been very good. Stays in the game, misses the jump hook.
That depth, that's what allows Creighton to play fast. Continue to push it on every single opportunity.
Thomas sneaking by the much smaller Xavier Bishop, misses the shot and gets fouled by a big.
UMKC foul on
He'll be at the free throw line.
That's his second personal foul. 18 foul against the Kangaroos.
Kyrie Thomas, along with guys like Ronnie Harrell and Marcus Foster and Maurice Watson, there are multiple Blue Jay players that can break it and take it, as Gus Johnson would say, can get the rebound and they can initiate the fast break. So you don't necessarily always have to find Mintz or Maurice Watson. There are times the second the ball's rebounded, you can take off, and Kyrie Thomas showed you there.
You know, when you talk about a guy like Kyrie Thomas along with Foster and Watson and some of the other newcomers, do you believe Creighton has the best backcourt in the Big East this year?
I do, and I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I think with Marcus Foster and Maurice Watson in particular, I think that's the best 1-2 punch backcourt duo in the Big East.
Villanova's was so strong last year, which led them to the national championship.
They certainly have a plethora of guards, and Josh Hart, Phil Booth, and Jalen Brunson, but I think with Marcus Foster and Maurice Watson, as good as it gets in the Big East Conference.
Hegner misses the three. Littlest man on the floor, Xavier Bishop at 5'8" with the rebound. You know, he should have gone to the wing. Wing was open. Meantime, it results in a Creighton 2 by Thomas.
It's a little thing, but see how Justin Patton, so many guys when they block a shot, they want to swat it all the way out of bounds. Patton blocked it, kept it in play, which springboarded a number situation the other way and results in an easy layup.
Kyle Stewart back in, misses the outside jumper, and a foul is called on a Kangaroo, and it's on Broderick Robinson. Creighton big over UMKC. We'll be right back. Maurice Watson with 9 points and 6 assists, and Creighton with their biggest lead at 49-27, just shooting lights out first half. And we were talking about how great the backcourt is. Well, Maurice Watson said we're not only going to be the best backcourt in the Big East, we're going to be the best backcourt in the country. So he even took your hyperbole up,
yeah, up to the next level, right? He certainly doesn't lack for confidence. And you know what? I think he's right. I think that they're not only, listen, the Big East Conference is a high major conference, and if you're the best backcourt in the Big East, you're one of the best backcourts in the country. So the two kind of go hand in hand, and the starting backcourt tonight, 29 points, 9 assists here through the first 16 minutes and change. But in particular, Foster and Maurice Watson are going to be electric in the backcourt, and their games complement each other.
I'll tell you, Kansas has a pretty good backcourt. Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, and this kid named Josh Jackson. I've been reading.
If you
about.
haven't heard of him, you will learn. Certainly going to see a great backcourt here on Tuesday. Bronson Koenig of Wisconsin, Badgers coming to town. Going to get that quote tested.
Outside was Alir Leak. He misses. Ronnie Harrell with the miss on the 3 attempt. Back comes UMKC. They're picked to finish 6th in the WAC this year. Mexico State is expected to win the Western Athletic Conference. There's a steal by Thomas, but they call a foul.
Bluejays foul number 2, Kyrie Thomas.
See, that's something Kyrie Thomas still has to work on, and he can get away with it at times. But those are the types of steals you get away with in high school, where you just take it from someone off the dribble. A lot of your steals are probably going to come off the ball, sitting in a passing lane. But Kyrie Thomas has such long arms and such good instincts that he's every once in a while going to get an aggressive foul like that, and I think he can live with it.
Ross misses on the drive. This is Thomas coming down to the other end of the floor. Try and get it low to Patton, but a bad pass by Thomas.
It's been the only kind of weakness so far for Creighton has been some of the decision making. It comes with playing fast. There's just been some poor passes, in particular towards the basket.
Greg McDermott does not agree. I mean, there's a lot of debate this year because of the post-play defense, and it puts a lot of pressure, I believe, on the officials.
Yeah, this was a clear travel. And Patton, though, as you just motioned, he did come down. See how his arms came down? If he would have just put his hands straight to the sky of that vertical cylinder where he's in his space, it probably wouldn't have been a foul. But I don't know how you officiate in the post. I mean, you really have this directive to decrease physicality, which I agree with. But a lot of these things sound good in theory, and they sound good and look good in writing. But when you actually have to go out there and apply them in a basketball game where you got 6'8", 6'9" athletes moving at a really high clip, it is tough to officiate in the block, in particular, on the fly.
And the last thing you want to see in March Madness is the stars on the sideline in foul trouble.
So I wouldn't mind, if we're really trying to decrease physicality, adding an extra foul. So you take 6 fouls to foul out instead of 5, just because you really want to make sure the stars stay on the floor. See there, Zach Hansen, good example of it. Zach Hansen, they were in a little misdirection trying to throw the ball inside to Zach Hansen. And it's just, it's tough sledding down there, where you're really trying to do a good job of, there has to be some element of physicality in the post, which there's a line. And I think you're going to see here in the month of November and maybe into December, players trying to feel out exactly how the game's going to be officiated in the post.
Greg McDermott remind one of his athletes today to keep his elbows in, because as soon as you grab a rebound and your elbows are out and you swing, well, it's an automatic foul on you. But if you have your elbows in towards your chest, well, then it's a foul on the defender.
If your elbows are vertical to the ground instead of horizontal to the ground, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
UMKC no field goals since the 5:37 mark.
The best offense has been throwing the ball inside to Ross, posting up.
He had a lot of success with that freshman Dwayne Clark as well, but he's on the sideline right now. Here's Bishop with 3 seconds left in the shot clock, and then he gets the soft touch.
How soft was that shot? A floater from about 16 feet just died on the rim.
That's his first field goal in college play. Zach Hansen, a 6'9", 235-pound senior from Pierre, South Dakota. All of a sudden, Leak is lighting things up for UMKC, and he's not a guy they expect that many minutes from this year out of South Sudan.
He's a 40% three-point shooter. Half of his field goal attempts are threes, so even though he's 6'9", he's comfortable teeing it up from beyond the arc.
Will give Kareem Richardson another option in Western Athletic Conference play.
You can never have too many good shooters. You just can't.
Hudson back in, kicking it off to Foster, and Marcus misses the three-point. An offensive rebound by Hansen.
Goal for one shot. Greg McDermott wants a 30-second timeout to draw something up.
Yeah, 30-second timeout for the
We'll take a break with Creighton up 53-34. Nick, Creighton can act like this is the final 24 seconds of a tie game to work on what they need to do when you're in a really close game late.
These are good situations in front of a big crowd here to make sure you execute at a high level. I'd imagine that you drew up a play against a zone and man, as UMKC was in zone in the previous possession. Looks like they're in man-to-man here. This is where you love Maurice Watson getting downhill, making plays, and obviously Marcus Foster's another good option as well.
Hudson working off the right side, 3 seconds left. Hansen with the jump hook. It goes, and Greg McDermott will love that. As Creighton up 21, and in discussion with Maurice Watson, his fine point guard.
What a half from Maurice Watson. 7 assists in the first half. Did a good job getting his teammates involved. And Creighton with a ton of success offensively through the first 20 minutes.
Watson, the Big East leader in assists last year, outstanding in the first half, and Creighton up big on UMKC. Welcome back to Omaha. Creighton with a 55-34 lead over UMKC at Century Link Center. Steve Fiziak along with Nick Bond. We expected Creighton to be very good offensively this year. They averaged almost 80 points per game last year, and they are on fire in the first half, shooting 59%.
Well, in large part because they have the perfect fit for this style of offense at the point guard spot, Maurice Watson. He has 7 assists in that first half. He also ported 9 points. He was the guy that really springboarded everything. He was tremendous in the first 20 minutes.
But he also has a big man to lob it up to.
And that's what you got to like about Justin Patton. 7-footer, redshirt freshman. A lot of what you're seeing is and then run the floor and flush it. I mean, he was really active in that first half. Maurice Watson did a good job of spoon-feeding him a few early baskets to increase his comfort level. Patton was fantastic.
And the little Jays enjoying it. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the court, your Creighton Bluejays.
Guy that can just go up to the top floor at its highest point and get it. Running the floor in transition, Maurice Watson finds him. And then you see the athleticism to be able to get in the passing lane.
Creighton certainly looking like the number 22 team in the nation with a 55-34 lead over UMKC. We talked about their great shooting at 59%, but how about their rebound?
Yeah, plus 12 in the rebounding column is big, because in order to be able to run and play fast, you got to rebound, and that's been able to springboard Creighton into the open floor. They got a 10-2 advantage in fast break points, so it starts with rebounding.
Foster leads them in scoring with 11 points. Patton with 5 rebounds, and Watson, of course, with 7 assists. There are 3 Big East teams ranked in the top 25 and 5 teams in the top 40, but Villanova, the national champions, along with Xavier in the top 10.
2 dynamite teams. Sumner and Blewett going to lead the way for Xavier. They have a big void with Archie Diacono's departure, but they're loaded with Josh Hart, Chris Jenkins at Villanova. And I think Jay Wright knows a thing or two about coaching as well.
Of course, Chris Jenkins, three-pointer, won the national championship over UNC last year. UMKC comes down after Creighton executed their offense well, but just could not finish. And this is Harrison, a guy they're trying to get started. Martez Harrison with only 2 points in the first half, 1 of 6 shooting from the floor.
He scored over 1,500 points for his career. I mean, we're talking about the guy that was a WAC Player of the Year 2 years ago. If he's not playing well, UMKC is going to struggle to win games.
How about that? That's some kind of strong by a 6'3" guard.
Count the basket by Kyrie Thomas.
Great play from Kyrie Thomas. Good strength as usual from Steve. Contact. Good job to just be around the area. Sometimes you just got to go crash the glass. Sometimes you'll get it tipped right to you. Kyrie Thomas had a good first half and off to a good start here so far.
He was Mr. Basketball as a senior at Omaha Benson. First true freshman to start. Their first game since the great Doug McDermott. Down low, Tillman.
Darnell Tillman.
UMKC, although they're perimeter oriented, I think their best source of offense has been throwing the ball inside to Clark and to Tillman, just letting those guys go to work.
Let's see if Richardson's Kangaroos are more determined to go in that direction in the second half. Marcus Foster, meantime, puts down another. He has 13.
See, they put him in the post, posted him up, a little face-up, fade away from Marcus Foster.
Tillman with back-to-back buckets. He only had 7 starts last year, but lost 30 pounds. And they won season.
That is just incredible from Justin Patton. 7-footer running the floor to be able to catch it at its highest point, have the awareness to kick it out to Kyrie Thomas for a 3. That is tremendous.
And that's the 8th 3 made by the Creighton Blue Jays tonight.
Welcome back to Omaha. Blue Jays up big. Certainly a lot to dance about, and a lot of the dancing for Creighton begins in transition. They play fast. Look at this when the ball goes in the basket. 18:35 on the clock. 1 dribble, pitch ahead, kick out, 3 as it goes through the net. Less than about 7 seconds to knock down a 3. I mean, that's how fast they can turn defense to offense, even off of a made basket. So when you're playing Creighton, you can't get your home run trot on. You got to sprint back defensively.
And a 7-footer with really good court vision to spot Thomas on that left wing. Now UMKC with the basketball, and LaBelle Boyd, they have shut him down. Number 4, one of their top scorers from a year ago. Harrison whips it back to a teammate. Good defense by Creighton, but knocking it down was Isaiah Ross. Watson back to work, and it's stolen by Harrison. And it's blocked by Cole Huff. Huff with the basket. We'd like to welcome Fox Sports Midwest to Century Link Center in Omaha, Nebraska. Steve Physiak, Nick Baugh with you. Creighton with a big 66-42 lead. Maurice Watson, one of the top point guards in the nation, nearing Another double-digit assists night. He had 7 at the first half.
Already got 1 more here in the second half, so he's got 8, 9 points, 8 assists, working on a double-double, and he's been the catalyst for everything offensively, but Creighton's gotten multiple contributions from Justin Patton and Marcus Foster, the Kansas State transfer. Just seemingly everything Creighton's done offensively tonight has been working at a high clip.
Dwayne Clark down low, so strong in the first half with that jump hook, and this time he travels with the ball, and the defender on the post gave him room, and it almost seemed like he needed that physicality to slow him down.
And some offensive players like to feel where the defense is at. Patton did a good job of sitting on that left shoulder for that jump hook.
Foster in and out with the jumper, and it will go out of bounds. And they're saying it's Creighton basketball at the 16:56 mark.
Just curious to see how often UMKC would want to implement their full court pressure. That was one of the few times they did, and it resulted in a wide open 3-point opportunity. It's just so tough to full court press Maurice Watson.
That time Foster got a little too handsy and picks up the personal foul. He was a fine defender for the Kansas State Wildcats, then transferred, sat out last year, and he is expected to be one of the top transfers, not just in the Big East, but in America.
He's going to lead this Blue Jay team in scoring. I think he's got a good opportunity to be a heck of a wing defender, as you alluded to as well, as Martez Harrison with a nice curl into the middle of the paint for a jump shot.
Watson looking for that screen, then gets it into Patton, who misses the slam, and that denies Watson his 9th assist.
It's that tough dynamic of a 4 and a 5 man that do different things. Huff's a 3-point shooter. Patton at 7 foot can roll to the rim, and it puts your defense in a tough spot, and then you just got to quarterback and Maurice Watson, who just knows exactly how to read and react to the defense.
At that time, I watched Patton go to the sideline to talk to Greg McDermott, who is a great scorer in his own right, a big man. And I'm not sure what the discussion was about. He's had several conversations with him in the second half. One was on post defense when big man Tillman got low twice.
I think one of the things that, what's the old adage, when the coaches stop coaching you, that's when you got a problem. And certainly Greg McDermott sees the potential in this young redshirt freshman. So there's going to be no mistake or even a compliment that's going to go unnoticed.
Boyd with the fade, doesn't go. Patton rebounds ahead to Watson. Cole Huff on the drive, will score, in a blocking foul. Count the basket.
All that's created from Maurice Watson's on-point skip pass, because the ball screen's going to attract the defense, and you skip it to the opposite side of the floor to create a closeout. That's just a great job from Watson.
They love their basketball in Omaha, Nebraska. Dana Altman got things going here at Creighton, and Greg McDermott carrying that on. But another great crowd tonight of over 16,000.
Always seem to show up. Look at that, 16,686.
And they're going to be here on Tuesday, and they're going to be loud for the Wisconsin Badgers.
It is going to be rocking. And very few teams enjoy a home court advantage, and Creighton certainly does. The fans love the style of play.
And that's going to be an interesting style of play, because Wisconsin likes that slow down half-court game with the big men that they have, and Bronson Koenig, very talented point guard, and against Creighton, who loves to run and gun.
Yeah, it's the story of the game is going to be pace. Whoever can win that battle, getting the game at their tempo, is going to have a great opportunity to win the game.
Maurice Watson down the middle of the floor, defended by freshman Bishop. Maurice, that's a blocking foul, and it will be Watson to the free throw line for 2 shots.
I just can't say enough how good I think Maurice Watson is today. Just a great job of taking what the defense gives him there. The driving lane presented itself, did a good job of sliding to his left, and clearly Deshaun King was moving. It's the right call, but it's one thing to have talent. It's another thing for that talent to fit the scheme perfect. And what Greg McDermott likes to do is play fast and push it, and Maurice Watson is literally the perfect fit for how Greg McDermott wants to play.
Yeah, he was a great star at Boston University, really wanted to challenge himself. And a lot of people thought he might go home to Villanova, but he came out here to Omaha. And Greg is delighted that he did.
One of those guys that plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, but he plays the game with a lot of joy as well.
Bishop kicks it off and threw it into the teeth of the defense, but the guy who bailed him out for a moment was Deshaun King. But now went off the Kangaroos, and it'll be Blue Jays basketball with 14:59 to play.
Just to see if Creighton could continue to get Cole Huff involved. The guy coming off a microfracture surgery on his knee in the offseason. And right now his knee's feeling fine, but it's just timing of basketball. You take that much time off without having a ball in your hands, it's going to take some time for you to get totally comfortable. He's knocked down a few shots early in this half here. I would imagine this might be his last stint of the game. It'd be nice to continue to try and spoon feed Huff some opportunities to gain some confidence.
And they want him against those bigs that Wisconsin will be bringing on Tuesday. Here's Watson on the drive, misses the shot, and it's taken down by Lavelle Boyd. Boyd's been very quiet, but finally finds the bottom of the net. Lavelle Boyd with his first field goal of the night. He's a guy who averaged more than 14 points per game last year, but just 1 of 6 from the floor.
If you'd have told Kareem Richardson that Boyd and Harrison would have had quiet nights offensively, I think he would have said they are in big trouble, and I think that's kind of what's happened here tonight. Creighton's been a buzzsaw offensively, but UMKC's 2 big guns at the guard spot have been quiet.
Yeah, they combined for almost 30 points per game last year, and they have a total of 8 points thus far, and we played 26 minutes.
That was on number 1, Deshaun King. That's his 3rd personal foul.
And King picks up his 3rd personal foul.
One of the things that happens, Steve, is when you have a great three-point shooting team, the guys that are rolling to the rim are usually wide open. You've seen a handful of times where the defense has been pressed out onto the shooters, and there's just been a ton of space in the paint for guys like Hansen and Patton, where Maurice Watson can just fire to those guys, and they can have opportunities to score and draw fouls.
Ronnie Harrell and Isaiah Zier didn't come back in for Creighton. And Hansen able to make those free throws, and Creighton goes up 73-48 on UMKC. With the miss. Watson, middle of the floor. Counts the basket.
Count the bucket by Mo Watson for Godfather's Pizza.
Just so good in early transition situations. Look at the little stutter step, crossover. Got a shooter in the corner, so that help can't quite be there. And then through the contact, able to finish it. He has a knack for finishing at a small stature at 5'10". Watson having himself a heck of a first game of the season.
Yeah, and he's got that point guard mentality. Very energetic, very charismatic. You can tell the guys love playing with him.
Oh, why wouldn't you? I mean, he will absolutely find you if you are moving and cutting and spacing, finding some opportunities to score. He will reward you.
Told a teammate at practice today, don't take your eyes off me. That might be when you get the basketball. You don't want to get it in the back of the head.
No. But the other thing he's good at, Steve, is he he just totally takes what the defense gives him. If it presents opportunities to score, he'll score. I mean, he scored 13 points tonight, make it 14. But he's also going to just read the defense. And if there are opportunities to pass the ball, he's certainly going to do that.
And he doesn't have to put it on his shoulders this year with the addition of Foster and some of the other freshmen. Rebound controlled by Kyrie Thomas. Isaiah Zierden misses, and Tillman with the rebound. Harrison really quiet. Got a good job defensively on him, and right now it's Davion Mintz, the freshman. And we have a personal foul.
Bluejay foul on number 1, Davion Mintz.
That was on Davion Mintz, the young man we were talking about, the freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, backup point guard.
That backup point guard spot's going to be interesting because Maurice Watson's not going to be off the floor a whole lot. And so in those moments where he's catching a quick breather, you need steady, reliable. And so as a freshman, Davion Mintz is going to have to do a good job of earning Greg McDermott's trust.
Can Zierden play point?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy that for his career has a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, and he's an incredibly smart player. His father Don's an assistant coach in the NBA. So absolutely, that's the good situation, that you kind of have that security blanket with Zierden. I wouldn't be surprised in that Wisconsin game if those backup point guard minutes don't go to Zierden, because that's a pretty big stage for a true freshman in Mintz early on in just the second game of the year.
That's a good point. We'll watch for that on Tuesday. This is Kyle Stewart, and he kicks it off to Isaiah Ross for 3. And a young freshman from Davenport, Iowa, having a nice debut. There's a steal by Stewart, but he traveled and turns it over.
For the first time, the help came off the three-point line to the roll man, and Mintz had been sitting on the sideline seeing the roll man go wide open time and time again, and threw it without really looking at where the defense was coming from.
Thomas doubled. That's great passing inside by Harrell.
That is so good. And what made it was the cut to the basket, or to the basketball. So Harrell flashed right to the middle of the lane, and that created the passing angle with a little dump down for Zach Hansen.
Tillman trying to set the pick and roll. Instead, Harrison will take the shot himself and make it. Harrison now 3 of 10 from the floor, and on the drive, kicking out of bounds is Kyrie Thomas as he dribbled it off his left foot.
Kangaroos basketball.
You gotta love the way Creighton's passed the ball. Little basket cut. Zach Hansen with the flush. Jay's rolling in Omaha.
Number 22 Creighton up 25 on UMKC, and we've got some scores for you around the Big East Conference. The biggest upset was Marquette winning at Vanderbilt, and Marquette picked to finish 7th in the Big East Conference this year.
A lot of those young guys, Jawan Johnson, Dwayne Wilson, Tracy Carter, have played a lot of basketball now, and that's a heck of a win early on, a good confidence builder. See Creighton sitting at 3rd in the Big East. Nova, a top 5 team. Xavier, a top 10 team. So loaded at the top.
And Xavier only won by 3 over Lehigh, so Lehigh's got to be much improved.
Yeah, Lehigh's the odds-on favorite to win the Patriot League. And sometimes early in the season, some crazy things can happen. That's a good test, though, for Chris Mack's crew. And sometimes those types of games aren't the worst thing in the world to wake up your team. They had a ton of success last year. They're a top 10 team this year, to maybe kind of serve as a wake-up call that you got a lot of work still to do.
Zierden throws it away on the inbounds pass. Now Harrison down the right side of the floor, and Crumple, if he doesn't touch him with his right hand, that's a fine defensive play.
It's so difficult to officiate in the post. As Crumple just got a little too touchy with a UMKC Kangaroo and got caught with a foul.
So Kyle Stewart, the 6'7" senior from Detroit, will inbounds. Harrison will be defended. And he almost threw it away, and Crumple almost made another steal.
Creighton has done a really good job of bottling up Martez Harrison, and they've done a good job of playing defense without fouling. He gets to the free throw line 7 times a game, which is a ton. And Creighton has done a good job of keeping him off the line. He hasn't gotten to the free throw line 1 time tonight.
Harrison misses, but right there for the slam is Darnell Tillman.
Tillman's lost a lot of weight in the offseason. Did a good job of changing his diet, getting in the weight room, paying off with the flush there.
And that is 1 bounds off of Mintz, backup point guard, and they're going to get Watson right back in the game. So Maurice didn't get much of a break.
Those are the freshman mistakes that just Mintz can't make. You know, he's got to be solid, has to be his game right now. And that's sometimes hard. He was an electric scorer in high school. And
there's the tough love every player needs.
Just saying, listen, you just can't make a mistake like that. And
now he's got the veteran Searden right next to Mintz.
Being the extension of Greg McDermott, so you're getting it from 2 ways.
But Mintz has got a chance to be a really special player at Creighton. So he's going to have to slightly change his mentality from a scorer to being a pure point guard.
Here's Watson reading the floor, looking for an opening. It's Paris, and he will miss the 3. And it's controlled by Clark. Boyd for 3.
42% three-point shooter, made over 80 threes last year. A guy that can really fill it up.
Watson gets it back. Shot clock down to 10. Crumple misses the 3, and we've got a whistle and a foul in the lane. Justin Patton is going to come back in. UMKC, meantime, on a 7-0 run as Creighton has turned the ball over 4 times the last 4 minutes. Toby Hegner back in. Justin Patton back in.
And the turnover's really been kind of the lone blemish for Creighton tonight. Just been a little sloppy at times with the ball, but again, that's can happen with the nature of their style of play. When you play at that breakneck pace, you can sometimes turn it over.
And Creighton trying to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since Doug McDermott's senior year in 2013, 2014. And this is a team, if they stay healthy, they'll be there.
In particular, in the front court. Need Hansen and Huff and those guys to make sure they stay healthy, because they're going to need those big bodies down low.
Bad pass by Clark. And then that's a 30-second shot clock violation, so Creighton will automatically get it.
Good hustle from Patton there, giving up his body.
This is Creighton's 4th year in the Big East Conference. They made it to the tournament, but that was a great team that first year in the Big East. And obviously the conference reorganizing, and everybody trying to find out what each style is, playing them regularly now, twice a year.
I think the first thing Creighton realized was they needed to upgrade their length and athleticism at the wing spot. As Foster knows one, and he's a perfect example of it. Kyrie Thomas as well, Kobe Paris. They finally got a Big East roster, and I think when they say that, when the coaches say that, I think they're speaking about the wings in particular and their athleticism. And a lot of that, Doug McDermott kind of masked the transition, where you got the player of the year who's going to cover up for a lot of maybe your deficiencies in terms of being a Big East caliber roster. That team was one of the greatest teams Creighton's ever had. So there's been some growing pains the past 2 years, but I think Greg McDermott finally feels really confident with the roster that he's got.
And you're talking about the length, the athleticism of the bigs, and I thought Chris Mack and Xavier did an excellent job getting some transfers to come in who did a great job on that front line, and that's why they won 28 games last year and did well in the tournament.
Big East is a physical, athletic league. If you're not there from a length standpoint and athleticism standpoint, you're going to be in for some long nights in the Big East Conference. And listen, the Missouri Valley Conference was a great conference, but it's a mid-major. I mean, the wings, instead of being 6'5", they're 6'2", and the foremen, instead of being 6'8", they're 6'6". And those few inches really make a difference. And it takes a while to figure out, okay, looking at the lay of the land of the Big East Conference and then hitting the recruiting trail and understanding the type of athlete that you need to go get. And Creighton, I think, finally has that.
Patton rebounds. Watson down the middle of the floor. Thomas is fouled.
Well, it's cool to watch Coach McDermott work with Justin Patton, don't you? I think Patton's been the guy that's been by far coached the hardest tonight, and he's played great, which is a good sign.
But I was watching when he accepted the ball out of the high post, what he did incorrectly that Greg was trying to get it back on track.
It just was indecisive. You know, the ball can't stick. Either you got to catch and keep it in rhythm, or you got to catch and move it. The one thing you can't do is catch, hold it, jab, jab, because then the defense can rotate and get into position. So it's about making quick decisions. If you want to take that shot, step into it and take it with confidence. Otherwise, swing it.
And how about this kid, Kyrie Thomas, 5 of 6 from the floor. He now has 16 points. And last year in his season opener, he was 8 for 11 for 18 points against Texas Southern. So 13 for 17 from the floor in openers. That's not bad.
No.
Rebound Patton. Here comes Watson. Missed the little floater. Brent Leach playing some rare minutes, and here is Boyd for 3.
3-point basket, Lavelle Boyd.
And then kicks it out to a wide open Toby Hagner.
That's a good play, though. Foster getting into a seam, creating a shot. It's a high percentage look.
Tough, strong move by Harrison. But defense rotated, and then foul call. Beginning to heat up in the second half. In the first half, Nick Bass said that Creighton has the best backcourt in the Big East, and they have not disappointed tonight.
They backed it up. They've absolutely backed it up. Marcus Foster, Kansas State transfer, played him in the post a little bit of a 1-foot leaner, and then Maurice Watson shot 29% from 3 last year, but he just shot it at a high clip. He's 3 of 3 tonight, and then this is what Watson does best, finding his teammates an easy standstill 3, and you cheat out on the shooters, Watson can get all the way to the basket. These two have been lights out tonight.
They have combined for 30 points and 11 assists, and then you throw in their third guard, Kyrie Thompson, who's a wing. They call him a 3, but he's really a guard. 46 points by that trio.
Kyrie Thomas is kind of the forgotten one of the trio. Foster and Watson attract so much attention, but it was important for Thomas to get off to a big start because confidence has kind of been an issue for him. He's a guy that the coaching staff constantly kind of has to coach up in terms of, hey, shoot it, attack, keep playing. And he finished the season strong last year, averaging 12 a game in the NIT, and good start for him here tonight.
Martez Harrison, who was their top scorer last year, averaging 15.5 points per game. He now has 10 points for UMKC Kangaroos. Richardson needs one more assist for a double-double, but he'll pull up the jumper and miss the shot, and Harrison with the rebound.
Greg McDermott challenged Maurice Watson to lead the country in assists this year.
Boy, his eyes always up, looking for a cutter.
He understands how to move on the floor to create passing angles as well.
Patton misses that jump hook.
You see just not a lot of strength, not a lot of burst in that.
Ooh, he got knocked down, and Watson gets it. He has Foster off on the right side, and then there's a foul call. Well, I will say this. He might be short, but boy, he goes in hard. He is looking for a foul.
He's got that Philly mentality where he is coming at you. He is not shy. He knows how to do a good job of creating opportunities for him to get to the free throw line. Just a dynamite point guard.
Don't miss the UFC's New York City debut. It all starts on FS1 with the biggest prelims card in UFC history. UFC prelims live from Madison Square Garden tomorrow at 7 Eastern, only on FS1. Here tonight, Creighton with a 19-point lead, but it easily could be more than that. They haven't had a big lead since the very beginning. Now back to 20. I
think they've lightened up a little bit on this end in the second half. And I get that it's sometimes difficult to not play to the score, but haven't been as locked in defensively in the second half. Just on the coaching staff I want to talk to Blue Jays about.
You know, I like the toughness that UMKC has shown. They have not quit, even though they got down by more than 25 points in this game. But they're still fighting, and they're still doing the things that Kareem Richardson wants them to do, where they can be a factor once WAC conference play begins. And New Mexico State Grand Canyon expected to be two of the top programs there, along with Cal State Bakersfield.
And a lot of the shots Creighton hit were kind of back-breaking type of shots where you do everything right and they hit a contested shot, and it's tough to not hang your head. They've done a good job of sticking with it. And this is where you kind of set that standard of how you're going to play and compete for the entire year. And I think I've liked what I've seen from UMKC.
Here's Kyrie Thomas. Oh, nice pass to Hansen, but he can't finish. Clock down to 8. Stewart knew he had to take the shot with it down to 1. Hansen with the rebound, and here comes Watson. Oh, that is a pretty move. He had a little stutter step that drew the defense to pause for a moment, and then he flashed to the hoop.
That double high ball screen just puts the defense in a predicament where you have one guy popping, one guy rolling, and then you got a great decision maker handling the ball. So just a great job surveying, see a little hesitation, get past the defender. Just that little hesitation there to freeze leak and get all the way to the basket. Beautiful.
It almost seemed like that hesitation throws the defense like, oh, he's going to pass it inside.
Exactly. That's a great point, because what has he done all night? He's usually stopped to throw it up to the rim. You see how Leak kind of went up to try and get some hands in the passing lane, and instead change of pace all the way to the basket.
And now Maurice is in conversation with the official on, give me an explanation of post defense again. This is some video you were watching last night at like 11 o'clock.
I went to bed confused last night. Vertical cylinders. What are we talking about?
Robert Newbill into the lineup.
Broderick Newbill comes in for UMKC, a 6'5" redshirt senior from Kansas City's Hogan Prep, transfer out of Fresno State. As a matter of fact, Cole Huff transferred from that same league from the University of Nevada, and we're going UMKC's way.
That's a bang-bang play. Couldn't tell. It went off Huff. The official was decisive with it. But that's what UMKC's press can do. See how they immediately trapped Watson, so he's not bringing the ball to the floor. Instead, it's Huff, and Huff gets caught in a position where he's going to have to do a little too much dribbling, and he turns it over.
Bishop misses. Rebound, Zierden. The steal by Harrison. And there's a foul that will send Broderick Newbill to the free throw line.
Bluejay foul number 21, Isaiah Houston. It's third personal foul. It's UMKC ball after a timeout.
Creighton with an 85-67 lead over UMKC, and we told you what's coming up next for Creighton. That is against Wisconsin, a great game on Fox Sports 1, and FS1 will have it on November 15th. That's on Tuesday, the number 9 team in the nation, right here at Century Link Center.
And you called it earlier in your analysis of the game. It's going to be a battle of who can impose their will for the tempo of this game. Wisconsin's a team that wants to play slow, grind you out. Creighton wants to play fast. It is going to be a great game. Wisconsin returns everybody on a team that went to the Sweet 16 last year, so great experience. They won't be overwhelmed by the crowd. Can't wait for that one on Tuesday on FS1.
And then after that, oh darn, they have to go to the U.S. Virgin Islands to play basketball.
Yeah.
Paradise Jam.
It's not the worst place to go.
No, but North Carolina State's a pretty good team that
Yes.
they'll probably face sometime in that tournament.
A good challenge early in the season for this Blue Jay team.
Another steal by UMKC, and you've got to really admire their spirit. They're not quitting now, down 16 points. Creighton's got a little sloppy here in the last 10 minutes.
Just been a let their focus slip just ever so slightly in their decisions and defense.
UMKC with the full court pressure, and then stealing it from behind was Harrison, and here is Martez, misses the layup. He could have cut it to 14 points, but unable to do that.
You got to credit UMKC for just continuing to fight.
Turnover by the Kangaroos, and Watson.
Hey. Here we go.
Another bad pass, and this time it's Bishop. So it is a 14-point game during the 3-minute mark.
Uncharacteristic from Maurice Watson with now 5 turnovers for the game, and just unnecessary. A lot of sloppy decisions.
Marcus Foster in and out with the 3. A chance to get to 12 or 11 points. Harrison does hit the 3, and all of a sudden it's an 11-point game.
30-second timeout for the Kangaroos.
The largest lead was 28 for Creighton. At one point, just about 10 minutes to go. Martez Harrison, look at him, just sizing him up, getting Zierden to back up and knock down a 3. And all of a sudden, UMKC is very comfortable. They're playing defense in the full court. A 13-3 run for UMKC. They've scored 9 straight.
And Greg McDermott's got to look at this one like, well, I've got some teaching lessons in the next few days before we host the Badgers, the number 9 team in the nation.
See, everything is stemmed from being a little bit sloppy, taking care of the basketball.
16 turnovers for the Blue Jays tonight. And there's the full court pressure. Inbound to Foster. He's a fine foul shooter. Another bad pass. The 6th turnover by Maurice Watson.
Interesting sequence of events here. As Maurice Watson usually just as rock solid as it gets taking care of the basketball, but he gets it back by drawing an offensive foul. So you see what they're doing now is they'll go run and jump the ball handler. So whoever's got the ball handling it in the backcourt, everybody will run down the floor, but they'll peel back a Kangaroo and run a double team. So you got to have Blue Jays thinking about making themselves available to come back and help the player getting double teamed.
Foster got bumped. We're in the double bonus, so 2 shots for Marcus Foster. Marcus was second team all Big 12 as a freshman. We told you about transferring from Kansas State to Creighton. Had to sit out last year. 138 3-pointers in his 2 years with the Wildcats. Lead back to 12. 2.5 to play.
UMKC's got to stay aggressive here. Time is not on their side.
Bishop's playing some quality minutes late.
Freshman.
And Bishop nails the 3. How about this? I'll tell you, Kareem Richardson has to be proud of the fight in his ruse.
Great job. See how Creighton's going to miscommunicate a switch. Zierden and Patton didn't talk. 2 guys ran at Ross. Going back to the little 5'8" freshman knocking one down. This is a testament to just keeping at it. Chip away, chip away, chip away. And once UMKC's been able to set their press and get the game going at kind of a frenetic pace, which you would thought would have benefited Creighton. Creighton's got a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, and the press has a lot to do with their success in this comeback. What is UMKC doing well in the press, and what is Creighton not doing well going against it?
Well, Creighton's done a poor job of understanding where the double teams are coming from, and UMKC's just been long, and they've timed up when they've kind of run and jump, and they've done a good job of just getting their hands on a lot of passes and on the ball handler, and so it's not complicated. Maurice Watson, if he can't just dribble around you, he's not overly big, so he sometimes can have a tough time of throwing over you. And so UMKC's put him in a couple of traps and thrown some secondary defender at him, and he struggled with it a little bit, which is uncharacteristic.
And once again, we'll see that full court pressure from UMKC. Creighton led 82-58 with 8:11 to go. Marvelous comeback by the Kangaroos of Kansas City.
They're not going to run a double team at him. They're just going to defend this possession out.
Good defense again by Harrison.
You want to see Marcus Foster go to the basket if he gets the ball.
Yeah, they had too many bodies on Justin Patton as he was trying to receive the basketball, so he'll go to the line for a couple of shots.
UMKC's
UMKC's gone small. They basically got 4 glorified guards on the floor right now, and Patton's going to be a mismatch inside, so you roll him down to the rim, and UMKC has to foul.
Patton with 11 points, 8 rebounds. That'll push it back to 10 at the 150 mark of tonight's game. Creighton looking for their first win of the year. They were a 20-game winner last season. Went to the NIT before losing in the quarterfinals to Brigham Young.
Well, that is a bonehead foul from Kyrie Thomas. You're going to foul UMKC where you had no chance to really get that offensive board. So now no time's going to go off the clock. UMKC's going to have a chance to knock down 2 free throws and then set their press. So now Creighton counters with Ronnie Harrell into the game, so you get an extra ball handler. So you got 5 guys that can all handle the ball on the floor right now.
Stewart misses the first. Makes the second. There's the full court pressure. Inbounding will be Zierden. And gets it to Foster. Drives up the floor and then spins in the lane with the left hand.
Wow.
And UMKC with a costly turnover, now trailing by 11 points.
You got to admire Foster's aggressiveness. Didn't necessarily need to go have a quick shot, but the confidence to make the play big time.
19 points by Marcus Foster in his Creighton debut.
I'm surprised UMKC isn't maybe throwing one last ditch effort to create some havoc, maybe send a double team. 30 seconds off the clock now.
Thomas misses the 3. It's controlled by UMKC. Power move by Harrison, but it is out of bounds to the Roos. And we've got 1 minute left in this game. Greg McDermott was saying earlier this week, we need games to find out what we're doing wrong so we can correct it. Well, they found out what they're doing wrong in this second half.
And I think Kareem Richardson on the other side is going to be able to show his team some good film in the second half. They've done a really good job of continuing to compete.
Misses the drive. Here is Bishop, and he's fouled by Zierden. Just 25.2 seconds to go.
Tough situation for Zierden there. He's backpedaling, and Bishop just barrels into him, but that's a good job by a young player understanding to just put the onus on the official to blow the whistle.
Bishop has been a big part of their comeback. The 5'8" freshman from Springfield, Illinois. Knocked down the second shot. Bishop 9 points in his collegiate debut, and Watson trying to dribble it out.
They're not going to go foul.
They had cut it to 7. Wow. After leading by 28. So Greg McDermott will shake the hand of Kareem Richardson, who congratulates him on his first win as number 22. Creighton wins by 7 points, 89-82. And as dazzling as the first half was offensively for Creighton, their mistakes, they're not handling the basketball that well in the second half, almost cost them.
Yeah, there are a lot of great things tonight that happened, but there were some frustrating things as well if you're Greg McDermott. And like I said, a lot of it is just self-inflicted wounds, just not making good decisions with the ball in the second half. And that's where it all stems from. And what's frustrating is the main culprit in that was your senior point guard, who did have 9 assists tonight, but he also had 7 turnovers. And so there are a lot of correctable mistakes. That's the good news. And it's good to see Marcus Foster in his Blue Jay debut able to do a good job scoring the ball, scoring 19 points. So, you know, kind of like your typical debut, a lot of good, a lot of bad. Going to be able to look at the film and find some areas to certainly work on.
Because they've got a big game on FS1 on Tuesday against Wisconsin. But Creighton wins their first of the year over UMKC. For Nick Baugh, I'm Steve Physiak saying so long from Omaha, Nebraska. Creighton over UMKC, the final 89-82.